back to another penny stock video. This time we have a really exciting one to take a look at. Guys, this stock to me has all the ingredients and it totally slipped through the cracks. Not a lot of people notice this stock. We'll get into the reasons of that, but there's a really interesting story unfolding with this stock. It's a brand new story and it should be loaded with catalysts, and it's a really, really nice swing trade setup. So without further ado, let's jump into VGTL. You can see currently trading at 0.002 a share. VGTL Inc. is the name of the company. So let's give a brief introduction as to the history of this company. This is not traded in about 4 years. It was an expert market for 4 years, and it hasn't had news until now in 7 years. So this was dormant for a very, very, very long time, and it was not trading for a very, very long time. And what happened is on April 1st, if we take a look at their disclosures, management certification hit April 1st, and they finally left expert market after 4 years. And then what happened was on Thursday, this most recent Thursday, they finally went pink current. So now everyone can trade VGTL. So they're finally pink current after 4 years. And again, first news in 7 years. So what's the news about? Well, let's take a look at the CEO letter to shareholders that they released on April 1st when they left expert market. As we embark in 2025, I'm pleased to share an update on VGTL and its transformative shift into the astronomy and space industries. So this is about the sexiest possible industry that you could enter, especially for a penny stock, where we love to speculate on, future technologies, right? And their potential to grow into something massive. So in this case, we have the sexiest sector we could possibly ask for, which is astronomy and space industries. It's the future tech sector. It's getting all the hype right now. You just saw Katy Perry went to space, right? You just saw Fitty, that stock, FITY, do really well off some space news. So it's a very, very hot sector right now, the space industry. And you can see they talk about unlocking a multi-billion-dollar opportunity with global atmospheric monitoring, premium astronomy services, and enabling services applicable to public safety, scientific research, and space situational awareness markets. So there's a bunch to read here. If you want to go, you can go on otcmarkets.com, search VGTL, go to their news section, and you'll see here CEO letter to shareholders if you want to read it all. And then they press released again on April 16th. VGTL welcomes Dr. David Kralowski, PhD, as Neuroscience Advisory Consultant to spearhead consciousness research and scientific integration. So essentially, they are building their team, right? This is a brand new company. The story is just beginning to unfold here, which means we have tons of catalysts to come. And this is one of our very first catalysts that gets introduced, is the addition of Dr. David Kralowski. And he is actually, as you can see, the lead neuroscience researcher at the University of Michigan Neuroscience Institute. So this guy clearly knows what he's doing, very intelligent guy, really good person to bring on board for what is a very science-driven industry, right? So let's take a look at the share structure like we always do. We have a beautiful share structure here, guys, really gorgeous. 787 million float, or held at DTC. That's what we go off of to determine the float. So that's our float, 787 million. That's less than $1 billion in low dubs. That's beautiful. That's what we always talk about, is what we look for. Less than $1 billion and at this price range is really, really nice. You can see big moves being made on stocks with tight share structures like that. Remember, we have limited supply and we have high demand, up 100% on Thursday with over $400,000 in volume. Brand new story, sexy industry, multiple PRs coming out after 7 years of dormancy. Again, all the right ingredients here, guys. 787 million float is beautiful, but it gets better, because if we go into their financials and we check their convertible debt, you can see that they cannot dilute anything here until their maturity date on the notes, which is November 1st, 2025, which means we have several months before there's any possible dilution here. Several months before any possible dilution. They updated the share structure once markets closed on Thursday, as you can see, last update, April 18th. So after we traded over $400,000 in volume. They updated the share structure, and you can see no dilution, and that's because they can't dilute. You can understand this if you read filings. The maturity date, right? We can't convert these notes until the maturity date of November 1st, 2025. So we are in the clear in that regard. Let's take a look at their Twitter. You can see they're showing off their high-tech telescopes that they have. So this is actually real technology that the company has. You can go into their filings and see, and we'll also cover that in the tweets, right? So let's take a look. I have some of their tweets highlighted. This one's from February 23rd, and I think this is hinting at what we can get for our next catalyst on this stock, because we know right now that they're building the team. They just brought in the Michigan lead neuroscience researcher, right? Well, it sounds like they're also going to be bringing in some more really interesting prospects to the team. So from February 28th or 23rd, they say, excited to build our team, a U.S. Army vet with an aeronautical background, an expert in astronomy imaging, and a specialist in astronomical spectroscopy. Big things are coming. So obviously, these guys have been very communicative. They're very communicative. And that's obviously a key thing that we look for with these OTC stocks. Are they communicating? Are they giving us catalysts to work with? In this case, VGTL absolutely is. So this is a big catalyst coming up for us as they build their team. We can look forward to more professionals being introduced that I think will reveal more of the story here. Then we get, again, April 16th, they added Dr. David Kralewski. We already covered that. And then most recently, company update April 16th, we're heading to New Mexico next week to explore real estate for astronomy research expansion. So they are expanding. They are looking to purchase more real estate, set up more telescopes for their Beyond Earth project, which is going to be this atmospheric monitoring system. And we're going to get into more scrumptious details about that in just a moment. But anyway, he talks about this site will complement our Florida location and will soon have good news about a strategic spot in the Virginia mountains. So they actually already have two locations. They have one in Florida and they have one in Chile. And both of them have live feeds on their website. Here's their website. And it talks about the Beyond Earth project. VGTL's Beyond Earth project is committed to unlocking the mysteries of our skies by developing a global atmospheric monitoring system that brings transparency to unidentified aerial phenomena, unknown traffic, and space debris both within and beyond Earth's atmospheric border. So really cool website here, as you can see. They have a lot of stuff you can dig into if you go onto all of their different tabs. One thing I did want to show you here, where is it? I think it's in media. Yep, here in media, you see they have live feeds for both of their telescopes, right, that are already fully functioning. So that's really cool. So by no means are they like some kind of shell company. They have operations going clearly, and clearly they're building at a rapid pace. If you look at just the amount of updates this company's been putting out on their Twitter feed, they are very, very active on Twitter. They're constantly putting out new catalysts, constantly talking about their progress. So I love to see it. And obviously, again, you can't really get any sexier than high-tech space technology, right? I mean, that's about as cool as it gets for when it comes to, in terms of, we're looking for stuff that gets hype. We're looking for stuff that creates speculation, and this is absolutely fits the mold. Now, there's one other thing that's really, really fascinating that I think a lot of people missed about this, and this really seals the deal for me. If we go into their disclosures and look at their 8K from February 20th, and yes, this company does put out multiple SEC 8Ks, which is great to see. But their 8K from February 20th is really seals the deal for me. And it talks about what I think are going to be the biggest catalysts coming up for this stock, which is government contracts, government partnerships, space program partnerships, right? So on February 2025, VGTL Inc. submitted regulatory filings seeking authorization for astronomy research and global atmospheric monitoring. And it talks about these submissions were made to various governmental agencies and regulatory bodies, including request for astronomy research authorization, licensing for data collection, global monitoring system operations, compliance with space and atmospheric observation regulations, coordination with national and international aerospace entities, and approval for advanced remote sensing and astronomical imaging. So if we scroll down, what we'll see is, look at this, guys. Where is it here? Right? 2, Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. Okay, so they're submitting applications to all of these government agencies. FCC, application submitted. All right. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, application submitted. Okay. The U.S. Department of Defense, application submitted. And National Security Agency, application submitted. So that's 5 government agencies that they've submitted their applications and regulatory filings to, seeking out government partnerships, opportunities, grants, right? Who knows what kind of possibilities could come out of them communicating with these government agencies. But obviously we know the government right now is all about space tech, especially with the current administration and SpaceX and all of that going on. So this is a huge catalyst that we could potentially be looking forward to here, which is news of any type of government contractor partnership or NASA partnership or SpaceX partnership or anything like that would just completely send this stock parabolic. If we take a look at the CEO here, Kenneth Williams, he's experienced in OTC markets. He's been the CEO of a few different companies, but there's a few different things on his resume that I'd really like to highlight. First of all, being civilian contractor for U.S. Air Force GPS division. That tells me that he probably already has some connections within government agencies that would be a good fit for VGTL Inc.'s technologies, right? Because its GPS division is pretty similar to what they're doing with atmospheric monitoring, I would think. And then the other thing is he was previously CEO many years ago of MDCN, which under his leadership went to over $4 a share. So, I mean, I'll take $4 a share, right? That sounds awesome to me. And then we have all of these components, all of these ingredients. I've told you, I really feel like this has all the right ingredients to be a big mover. But let's seal the deal one more time by taking a look at the chart, because we have a really killer chart set up here, guys. Really great. Now, you might be thinking, this is 1 year chart or a 6-month chart. No. This chart goes back to 2017. Remember, this didn't trade for a 4-year period and didn't have news for 7, right? So this chart goes back to 2017. So not only do we have a full chart reset, we have a golden cross setting up here, right? If you look right here where I'm circling my mouse, 50 MAs purple, 200 MAs yellow. We have a golden cross that's about to hit. This is going to hit any day now, that golden cross, which is one of the most bullish technical setups you can get. Now, levels. Levels is really key here, because what we got a level at 002. We have a level at 003. Above that, we have nothing. We got nothing, right? I mean, it traded up here for a tiny bit, but we have no real... excuse me, got my phone going off, sorry. But we have no real resistance levels over 003. It is blue sky breakout over 003, guys. There's, I mean, for years, it has not traded over 003. I doubt market makers have many shares up here. I think it's going to be extremely thin trading once it breaks 003. It reminds me of another ticker that I've covered in video, PWDY, and it had the same setup where there was nothing to be traded over 003. And I told you guys it was going to get so thin once it broke that point, and it did, and it flew once it broke 003. So this chart setup is about as good as you can get in terms of that. Very minimal resistance. Excellent share structure, right? 787 million float. We have tons of news. They're tweeting every day. They're putting out multiple PRs. They are space technology. They have government program applications in. They have lead neuroscience researcher on their team. They have the U.S. Army vet with aeronautical experience joining them as well. Guys, it has all the right ingredients here. I really like VGTL. Keep in mind, full disclosures, I'm a swing trader. If this thing goes parabolic and I'm up a ton of money, you better believe I'm selling. That's why I do this. That's why we trade stocks. Don't kid yourself. Okay, be responsible and do your own research as always. And of course, I'm not a financial advisor. In fact, if you buy the stock just because I told you to on a YouTube video, you really got some thinking to do about your life, buddy. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.